Three, two. And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week of Soul to Soul. We're so excited to be here. And you know what? We literally we have no idea, either of us, what is going to emerge in today's conversation because literally we were just like chatting for maybe a few minutes before we came on and just chatting about stuff like movies and other things. And then it's like, oh my gosh, we go live in 2 minutes. So yeah, this will be like every week though, sort of whatever comes up in the moment, whatever's on our hearts, whatever's on our minds, whatever bubbles up from within, and whatever it is, it's going to be good. It's going to be exactly what it needs to be. So I am Joy Ross, and over here is my co-host,
Ame-Lia Tamburrini. So amazing to be here with you, Joy, and with you as well. Whoever's tuning in and sitting here with us in this circle. I love these moments in our week that, and I love that we don't know where this is going to go today. We're sitting here speaking from our heart, and we will riff off each other and see where we land together. And if you have comments, if you are watching this live and you want it to go in a certain direction, land us a comment and we will check it out and see if we can find it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's like, where do we even, folks, this is just real, right? Like we just show up. We're not tech experts. We haven't figured out all the navigational ins and outs. However, what we are two people who are equally committed to and passionate about just speaking our minds and speaking openly and freely in a world, in a society actually where unfortunately that seems to be a lost art. I don't know about you guys, but and especially for those of you who are tuning in, maybe just for the first time, you're checking out our show. The reason why we do these shows is because Ame-Lia and I were sort of, sitting back and watching everything that was happening in the landscape of society for the past couple years, actually, or maybe more, and just sort of talking among ourselves about, wow, like what is actually happening? Why are people so angry? Why? Like, where's the understanding? Why does it not seem possible for people to just have conversation without getting all riled up just because somebody has a different perspective? And can we all just be mature adults and engage with each other and talk about issues and not feel like we have to walk on eggshells? Because if we could do that, what might the world look like then, right? Like, how awesome would it be to actually learn something if we allowed ourselves to just be open and accept other ideas without criticizing each other and hating on each other? And so because we both are speakers, I have a show, Living Inside Out Today. Ame-Lia has her podcast, Circle of Change. It's like, hey, speaking is what we do. We both train in our respective businesses and we're big on communication. It's like, why not come together and just go live every week and have heart-to-heart conversations and sort of model what we are wanting to see in the world? Why not let it start with us and just show up and have conversations? And even if we don't agree with each other, let's talk about things and maybe learn some things from each other. So that's why we're here, right?
That's why we're here. Mm-hmm. I love it. You know what this show has been doing for me too, Joy, is it's been encouraging me and challenging me to put more, I don't going to say controversial, but just to put more honest, truthful thoughts out into my newsletters and social media posts and the way in which I'm communicating with my seekers. And it's been really fascinating. I put a post out yesterday on the inclusion of Black, people of color, Indigenous folks on our committees as an act of inclusion and diversity, and really just challenged that behavior.
Hmm.
And I've been so enjoying the comments I've been receiving. Like, people are really opening their minds and getting curious and sitting with this thought and saying, "Oh, okay, like, how does this relate to me?" So I think that was a cool sign for me that it doesn't have to be we can have these conversations. We're literally swimming in a new world. We have 0
Mhm.
idea what the path forward is from here, and so if we
Mhm.
can't be showing up and being truthful, then we're not gonna get very far, and it doesn't have to start with, like, the big conversations. I wanna say
Mhm.
this because it came up when you were speaking and doing our intro, that being truthful comes down to the small acts as well, like showing up in a room and serious and tuning into, "How am I really doing in this moment?" If
Mhm.
somebody asks you, "How are you?" and you're just like, "Oh, I'm fine," but really you're kinda depressed, or maybe you're elated, and you're not expressing that, or you've kind of quieted yourself, or because you didn't wanna be too big in that space, or whatever it is, like, these are all little micro lies that contribute to us not showing up authentically, and so these are the ways that we can practice all of that, and we're doing it in this forum, practicing authenticity, honesty,
Mhm.
sharing what's on our heart, being with differences of opinion, and it doesn't have to be like this stage, this big.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And while you were talking, it occurred to me, well, yeah, being truthful actually begins within,
Mhm.
which is sort of ironic and humorous to me because, I'm all about living inside out. Like that's the name of my show, Living Inside Out, right? Today. It really does begin with being honest with ourselves because until we are honest with ourselves, we're not really able to be honest with anybody else. It's just like everything begins within. Until we forgive ourselves, we're not able to forgive others. Until we love ourselves, we're not able to love. We don't even know what love is until we have that internal experience with it first. So, yeah, being honest, which is not easy. And that's not you wake up one day and like, oh, okay, I'm going to be honest with me. Because if you've not done it, if you've not been intentional about being honest with yourself, at least this has been my experience. And from what I've heard, like experts say in the personal development space, it's a journey because most likely there are layers, to your point, Ame-Lia, about when we aren't checking in with ourselves on a regular basis, we can tend to get buried underneath these layers, like little micro lies, little micro, what's the word? When we overlook what we're feeling, right? All of that stuff adds up, and we can actually get to a place where the real us is buried underneath. And so the process then is, oh, what what's up here and like peeling back the layers, taking off the things. And then it's like, oh, this is who I really am. Now that I know who I am, I can come into places and spaces authentically. But I don't know if it's even possible to do that without being aware of and then removing the layers.
Mm.
And again, to me, it's a process. It's a journey, but it can absolutely be done. Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think it's a lifelong journey. We're always evolving.
Mhm.
If we're not evolving, we're suffering.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even when we are evolving, even when we are evolving, we can still be. I don't like the word
No,
suffering. That's just
it's
my own thing. So
uncomfortable.
I'm going to reframe it and say even that can be painful. We can still have pain, right? In fact, pain is associated with growth. Growth doesn't feel good, it hurts. So evolution I think by definition is going to include pain, but it's temporary. And I guess it's a mindset of being able to walk through saying, okay, what I want is the growth. What I want is to really know myself so that I can be authentic. Therefore, I'm willing to maybe be a little uncomfortable, maybe feel some feels in the short term
Yeah.
for the longer term outcome.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I mean, that's why I like the word suffering, the differentiation or the distinction. Like suffering for me is like self-inflicted, not moving forward. Whereas yes, a discomfort with evolution, that's kind of a different thing. You're in choice in those moments, which I think is an important distinction. Um, Something else came up and I can't remember what it was.
Let's talk about that. You're in choice. That
Mm.
struck me because
Mm.
when we don't move forward, that also is a choice. Not choosing
True. Yes.
is a choice. We are always? Is that the
Yeah.
always and never. Those are strong words. I'm leaning toward we are always in choice, whether we are consciously viewing it that way or not.
Ooh,
We're
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, let's talk about what we are in choice about. So,
Oh.
because some folks I can imagine are like, "Well, that person did whatever, I'm not in choice." It's like, yeah, you're not in control of the circumstances, what's happening, but you are 100% in control of how you react or
Mhm.
respond or how you make it mean something or don't make it mean something. Yes, I think for me, that's what you're saying or what I know is true for me, but yeah.
Mhm. Yes, totally. And I was sharing with you before we went live that I'm actually preparing for a talk, a presentation that I'm going to be doing this weekend. Hey, you guys, I'll be posting either later today or probably tomorrow if you're interested. But there's a Delta Sigma Theta uh, local chapter conference that they do every year. It's on health and wellness. And I think they're targeting Black and brown communities, but everybody's welcome. So I'm speaking on mindset mastery, right? Master
Mm.
your life by mastering your mindset. So I've been thinking a lot about that, like the power of our own thoughts and how we view ourselves and what we do have control over and how we that process of actually mastering ourselves, which for I don't believe, just my personal belief, that that's a destination. I think that is a journey. We don't get to a point where it's like, whoo, I have mastered past tense, my mindset. No, but we can get to a point where we have certainly developed that muscle enough so that we are thriving and not suffering due to the things that go on in our mind, right? So I was thinking about the importance, like when taking that journey to really get in touch with and begin to master our mindsets, master our thoughts. One step in that journey is linked to suffering, because there's a point, and this kind of is syncing up with what you said, Ame-Lia. There's a point where it's a choice point where we decide, where we have an awakening, right? We have an aha to the reality that we don't actually control anything in life, really, other than ourselves. And like you said, how we choose to react. And so mindset mastery requires sort of letting go of that need, which a lot of us have, if we're honest, a need to control external things. And instead shifting our focus on the inside. And when we do that, actually, there's more power in that to actually influence everything in our lives. So, yeah, that control is a tricky one because I think as humans, we have an innate need or desire to control things for whatever reason. But that very need and desire often is the very thing that's keeping us from having the life that we really want to live.
Oh, yeah. It's so ironic. It's true. Like, I think I mean, I see control as a protective mechanism. Our minds think that if I have control, if I know where I'm going, if I know the outcomes, if I know how that person's gonna respond, I'm safe. And in reality, I mean, you just simply can't control any of that stuff. So we are putting ourselves in really, uh, like, unnecessarily painful circumstances.
Yes.
Whereas there's so much more calm and connection that happens when we're able to release that control and step in with expectancy for something miraculous to happen,
Mhm.
whatever it is, knowing that even if it doesn't feel good, it's still there for you. It's still here to serve you, to help you grow, to help us expand in some way. Um,
Mhm.
and it does exactly like you said, it gives us our power back, um, which is just such a beautiful way to show up in the world, especially in a world where we don't have control over anything, as you said. I think COVID really highlighted this for so many people that never, ever thought about
Mhm.
uncertainty in their life and how much of it there is, and
Mhm.
COVID just really, like, blew that up to be like, "Whoa, there are big forces at play that I have no control over," and then they had to be with that and sit with that. Um,
Mhm.
so I think, you and I have had some health experiences in our life where there was not a lot of control about what was happening
Yeah.
to our bodies, and what we did have control over was how we framed it in our minds and what
Mhm.
we decided to make those opportunities mean for us.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, yeah. So good.
it's so good.
And, for me, most, if not all things, ultimately, when you peel back all the layers and go deep, 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 deep underneath the surface, bedrock for me is God, right? And the spiritual part of ourselves, our spirits, which we can't see, but that actually is the most authentic part of us, is the most powerful part of us. And so as I think about like let go of control, it's actually
Mhm.
a process of stop trying to do everything in my own strength and realize that God wants to, and he's already made provision for my life. He wants to be involved, but he's not going to force that. So it's like, let go and then cling, discover who he is and hold on to him and really just ride those coattails because it's going to take you further and faster and higher than we'd ever be able to do in our own strength. That to me is, ultimately, again, at the bedrock level, that's ultimately the journey is to
Mm,
get there to a level of total and complete trust that he's got me. If I
mm,
let him, if I don't want to let him, he'll let me. And he's like, okay, when you're ready, I'm here. I'm here when you're ready. Mhm.
mm.
And who wouldn't want to sink there? Who wouldn't want to attach to the one who created the universe, the stars and the planets and all living things, and who knows all. Who wouldn't want to tap into that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just, if what was I gonna say? Oh gosh. I don't know what's happening to my thoughts today. They're like in and out, in and out.
Pew, pew.
I love
Hey,
how we came back to trust. That's why I kind of burst out into laughter when you started talking, because I was like, "Oh, we're gonna come back to trust," because I feel like every conversation we have on here
comes back.
comes back to that, and it is so freeing, so freeing. I do wanna say, oh, this is what it was, when you were like, even if you're not inviting God in or divine spirit, the universe into your life, I still my belief is, like, we're always still under the influence and being guided and acting, in alignment with, like, um, like, the universe never leaves us, period. And maybe you said that. I think you did say that. Um, that even if we're not conscious or we're going against what our intuition, those strong senses are telling us, we're still we're not being left alone in
Mhm.
those moments, is what
Yeah,
I wanna say.
yeah, agree. And what I'm about to say is it's occurring to me that this is like an example of two people being able to express their beliefs, right? That may not be 100% exactly the same and still be okay with that, right? So when you said what I believe, what rose up for me is, ooh, that's key as well. Because everything also comes down to what do we believe? What do
Mhm.
we believe about ourselves? What do we believe about what we're talking about right now? Like God, right? For me, I believe the Bible because not just because somebody told me that's what I need to believe, or because I heard somebody else say, oh, that's what they believe, but I believe it because I read it and I've tried it, the instructions that are in there, and I've gone to God and said, "Oh, wait, okay, so this is what this says. I just read it. Is this true?" And like, show yourself to me. Like I've gone with curiosity into the Bible, like to really open myself up to experience. Okay, God, if you are who this book says that you are, and if you are no respecter of persons, like it says in here, and oh, it says in here that you're knocking. And if I open the door of my heart, you'll come in, but you don't force that. You give me choice. Okay, so I'm going to open the door. Yes. And I believe this and what. So I have experienced him doing the things that the Bible says he will do. And so therefore, for me, absolutely, that's what it is. It is God, or all the other names. That's one of his many names, right? Uh, Creator of the universe. And yeah, he's patient, to your point. So even if we're not opening the door, even if we're not in that mode of total belief, he's patient, he's kind, and he still loves us. He loves us and he extends opportunities. His love never runs out. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're listening, what's coming up for you in this conversation? Maybe it is, yeah, what is your relationship with God, with the universe, with whatever it is that feels real for you or what is accessible for you? How are you allowing that divine wisdom in, or how are you resisting it?
Mm-hmm.
And what is it that you desire for? that relationship and for how it is you walk through life? Those are some questions that are in my
Mhm.
heart right now.
I love those questions. Yes, Ame-Lia, that's perfect. What do you desire, right? And yeah, if you're resisting, what's underneath the resistance? And do you do you feel like your life is in flow? Like, is that working for you? Do you feel an ease? Um, I did a post this morning actually on that. You know, like, are you feeling tired of working hard? You know, sometimes, and it sort of syncs up with the control thing that we're talking about too. Sometimes we can be so in an energy of making things happen and like controlling things, and in our minds, again with the mindset, in our minds sometimes we can think, oh well, this is good, right? Like this is what is necessary, and all of this hard work and all this, trying to do all the things is going to get me where I want to go. And sometimes we don't know that there is this other flow. There's this supernatural power, supernatural energy that we can tap into, that, like I said a few minutes ago, it takes us further, faster, higher. So I'm actually doing a series on my show. The past few weeks I have been, and tomorrow the series is continuing with business owners who are also Christians, meaning they have a personal relationship with God, and talking about how they bring that relationship into all of their decisions, all of the, how that works, right? In terms of them navigating their businesses and their work life. Because there is something there. So to your point too, or maybe it was mine, Ame-Lia, about being authentic. That was your point earlier, right? I think I just would share that the more comfortable I'm becoming to show up and talk about what we're talking about today, because that is really who I am at my core, um, the more ease and grace and the more comfortable it becomes for me to just walk into any space in any place, because I'm peeling back those layers. And there was a time in my life where I would definitely not be on a live talking about God or any of this stuff. Although he was a big part of my life, I was afraid. Like, oh, what will people think? Or, oh, nobody's going to listen to me. People won't want to be around me. Um, so I don't know, you guys, maybe there's somebody watching this and that's you right now. And you're like, oh, wow, this is intriguing. I don't think I could ever do that. Let me encourage you that if you have that little nudge on the inside that's like, I'm not, oh, I wish I could do that. You will feel so much freedom, so much joy if you have that desire to be your authentic self. And your authentic self is this heavily spiritually dominant person. You'll feel so much freedom to just start opening your mouth and saying what's in your heart. Um, it's an amazing thing. It's a beautiful thing. So for whoever needed that, just a little encouragement. I know it can be scary, but we want to know what you guys think.
Mhm.
Send us comments. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, and I just wanna, plug my show that's coming out tomorrow, The Circle of Change. The conversation is with, neurotransformational coach Michelle Moore, and we get into not all of these topics, but we are deep in the conversation about becoming our authentic selves, really
Mhm.
shedding the "who should I be," and really transitioning into who we are at our core and showing up in the world in that way. And Michelle is great because she gives us some little tips to really step into that investigation, exploration in the micro moments. Because again, I think it's, and she talks about this too, is like, we need to take this journey in a way that is safe for our bodies. And each and every one of us is at a different state of that. And so it's not about diving in and doing the lives and all of that, but taking a moment, like we started, to just ask yourself in any moment, how am I doing right now? Is this working for me right now? Whatever those questions are, to have that moment of truth internally with yourself. And the more you practice that, the easier it'll get to show up as your authentic self, because what you will find is you will love your authentic self. Like, you'll fall so deeply, intimately in love with this being that you won't want to be anything else but that in the world. So that's certainly been my experience.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll say, if you're called to dive in, do that. What it is about is being and doing whatever it is that you authentically are called to do. So, hey, maybe that is your calling. Maybe you're hearing a voice saying, "Ooh, I need to start diving in and speaking." Dive right in, fear and all, because if that's where your calling is, it's going to all be okay once you get in motion. So, like you said, Ame-Lia, just echoing that, every one of us, it's an individual journey. It's going to look different, right? I want to plug a couple things. Again, I'm going to post about the conference that I'm speaking at this Saturday. So if you guys are interested, check out my page later today, tomorrow, for the registration information, and my show tomorrow, Living Inside Out Today. There's already a post up on my page about that, and announcement. Here, you guys are hearing it first. I have not announced this yet. I'm going to announce it on my talk show and podcast next week. I'll drop it here. My show, Living Inside Out Today, is transitioning to Living Inside Out Today TV. What? Yes. A door was open to sync up with the network, and I am super excited, and those wheels are in motion. So I'll be saying much more about that in the weeks ahead, but just wanted to drop the seed.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that nugget, and congratulations. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And it's Wednesday, so that's my little celebration.
Right.
So before we close, Ame-Lia, it is Wednesday, WINS. What are you celebrating today?
Oh gosh, there's so much to celebrate. In this moment, what is coming to me is, I've been in this practice of really listening to what people say and are reflecting about me and how I show up in the world and the work that I do. And I've been absorbing that in a deeper level, like actually allowing it into my body and allowing it to also guide me in terms of what is needed and how I am both most meant to serve, or what, you know. Anyways, I think that's what I'm celebrating today, because I'm having so many of those moments this week. And it's helping me to craft my next program and step into that with so much more certainty about, no, this is why I'm here. So that's what I'm celebrating.
Oh, I love that. Deep listening. Is that an appropriate takeaway?
Sure.
Yeah, I love that.
Deep listening and also just acceptance, like receiving. Yeah.
Oh, yay for
Yeah.
listening and receiving. All right, you guys, let us know what's on your mind, what resonated. What do you want us to talk about next week? I mean, we are open to bring any topics, right, to the forefront. So
yeah. It's all going to come back to trust anyway. So, it doesn't matter what you bring up.
Exactly. It all comes back to trust and like just let go, release control. You never had it anyway, right? Trust and mindset. That's all. That's everything. All right. You guys, we will see you next week. Love and peace.
Ciao.
If I can find the little button to click off, we're signing off now. Bye.